Welcome back to the Kop TV, the voice of football's most famous stan, myself, AGT, and my best friend in the whole entire world, Abby Summers. Big up to you. Thanks for coming on. It's probably your 7th or 8th appearance now.
Count,
I'll probably get you a triple hat-trick ball when the time's right.
Thank you.
Which probably, if you get through this game tonight, because at the time of recording this, it is 3 o'clock on Thursday, so this is before the game. We don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we kind of do, but we don't.
We hope.
There's a couple of options that could happen. Spurs do a Spursian lose, or Spurs do a Spursian win.
And win.
So Christ knows what's going to happen.
Well,
so
it's a mid-table clash.
by the time this goes out, not only could you have got through to the next round, but you could have also drawn Liverpool in the cup. So if you're watching this and we've drawn each other, it's crazy now, right? So let's just talk about this game on Sunday as a standalone game without even talking about your game tonight. Smash that like button, get your comments in. I'm sure you already do follow Abby, but if you don't, make sure you do. Great content creator that I work with every single week for the last few years, so it's all good.
It's all good.
It's all good.
Want to tell them how we went to school together?
No, I've done that enough.
Oh, okay,
they know that.
Just checking.
Kop TV Clips has already clipped that up a few times, so big up. And if you don't know, obviously we went to school together. Right, Sunday. Mate, do you know what? I've held my anger in for over a year. It was last September. No, I'm going on, yeah. Okay. Because, Abby, it was a disgrace and revenge is needed. And if Simon Hooper is anywhere near that team of officials at White Hart Lane, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Sunday, I'm sure he won't be. But we're feeling it's in there still. It hurts still.
It hurts.
I know, like, you have that one over me. But we did beat you in the Champions League final, so I've got that one over you.
It wasn't a penalty, mate.
No, yeah, exactly. So you still hurt about that 6 years ago? Yeah, so it still hurts.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I remember me and Doyle doing a fan cam after this game last year. Corruption came up, disgrace came up, cheating came up, and I'm not blaming you because it wasn't your fault or your team's fault.
It wasn't.
But do you understand that Liverpool fans are still hurt by this and we need revenge now?
Of course, but at least it didn't cost you the title because you bottled that yourself. But I hope you win it this year. You never walk alone, lads.
All right, well, if we've got your backing,
you got me backing. You got me backing.
I know you like the Scouse accent.
I do. I love a Scouse accent.
You are getting better at actually as well.
Thank you.
But yeah, last year it was the 2 red cards that weren't even red cards.
Yeah.
And we've seen things that have been a lot worse this season, not even card.
100%.
The goal that Luis Diaz did score, and it was a great goal. It should be on his show reel of goals for Liverpool. Some reason, a good process, lads. That was the line that we came away with, wasn't it?
Didn't draw the line.
Disgrace. And the own goal at the end.
Well, I don't think you can really blame the referee for the own goal.
I can't blame us. I can blame us, but
you've got to blame John Matip.
Yeah, it's probably his only mistake in a Liverpool shirt as well. And he was kicking himself. And I remember after the game, it's quite early on in the season. Yeah. I think you'd won like 8 out of 10 or something. But talk to us about this season because it hasn't been as good as last season. And there's been times already where there's more than a few people saying, get him out.
Yeah. Well, I'm not Ange out. I'm Ange in. I sometimes lean towards Ange out. But I'll be honest, like, I've seen enough, and it's a weird thing to say because obviously Spurs are incredibly inconsistent. Yeah. But I've seen enough to see that there has been progress because when Spurs are on it and on their day, they can beat anyone, and they are beautiful to watch.
Beat City 4-0 away, mate.
Yeah, you know the United game, Villa, West Ham, the first half of the Brighton game. There's games where I've seen such great football that I feel like I trust what Ange is doing because if he's allowed to build something, I think that he can build something pretty special. So the reason I'm not Ange out is because I've seen 14 managers in 23, 24 years, and all roads lead back to the same person. I'm not going to make this a Daniel Levy, Ian account chat. I'm not going to. But that's why I'm not Ange out, because it can't be Ange, it can't be Poch, it can't be Martin Yeo, it can't be Redknapp, etc., etc. So
the common denominator is the chairman.
Is the chairman and the board. Yeah. So that's why I'm not Ange out. I'd say this season there's been a lot of individual errors, which also you can't blame Ange for. If I think about the game against Leicester, first game of the season, where Spurs totally dominated the game, drew the game. Yeah. Lapse of concentration from Romero.
And the second half at Brighton.
Individual
silly mistakes.
Capitulation there. If I look at the Newcastle game, second game of the season, Romero's charging forward, doesn't bother to track back, concede. The Arsenal game, Romero again doesn't pick up Gabriel. If I look at the Chelsea game, the game should really end 3-2 Spurs, but it doesn't because Spurs unfortunately, in terms of Sarr and Basuma have been completely brainless and given away 2 pens. So I look at various things and I say, well, I can't blame Ange for that. You know, the players have to take some responsibility and accountability for their own individual mistakes and errors. But this should be a really exciting game because I don't think anyone would have expected the Arne Slot era to be so smooth so far. Performance levels have been brilliant. There's been a few games that maybe you have won that you shouldn't have, but that's a sign of a good team where you've either ground out a draw or you've ground out a result and turned it round. And I think that when we looked at Liverpool, like we all felt, you know, you still needed a 6. I think left back is obviously an area you will address properly in the summer. Maybe some depth at centre half as well. But for you to be top of the table at the time of recording, and also, you know, favourites now for the title, when this was really Arsenal season to go and win the league, like I had you third. I wouldn't have even put you in a title race.
I would have taken third at the time, but I think when you support a club like Liverpool, obviously the tradition is getting to finals, winning leagues, and people are saying I've jinxed it and I've done all this. In my opinion, no, because you should be supporting them as much as I am as well. You should want to believe that Liverpool will now go on and win the league. And it's not me jinxing it. It's me supporting my own team as a supporter. That's the clue's in the name. You support your team. And it's not adding more pressure. These players have dealt with way more pressure in their careers before. Yeah. We're in December, not May. Then the pressure really ramps up. But for me, when you're in this position this early on, yes, it would be an absolute disaster if, in my opinion, but that just shows how good Slot's been that we're even talking about this. Yeah. But if we don't win the league from now, yes, I will be massively disappointed.
Well, I get that. I understand you'd be disappointed. Yeah, but I think the fact is that obviously the expectation of you was to never, you weren't.
Exactly.
You were never going to be able to win the league this year.
Your ambitions and your things that you would be happy with changes across the season, week by week. And at the minute, Liverpool are in all cups, you know, top of the league. But Chelsea obviously do play Everton at 2. So that, I mean, I said it in the one last week. I said, you know, the pressure is right back on Liverpool. 2 Premier League draws in a row. Obviously, there's a bit of a history with this fixture after last year.
It's always a good game. There's
such a great game,
many games
fixture-wise
between us that Spurs should have won and didn't win and whatever. The 4-3
was one of the best Premier League games I've ever watched at Anfield.
I've told you my story before about the 4-3, didn't I? When I went to cash out and couldn't cash out.
Yeah, hold tight, Richie, for that one. Big him up. But yeah, listen, I'm hoping that Liverpool win. I'm going to do a lineup prediction. It will be Alisson back in goal. It will be Trent. It will be Gomez, Van Dijk, and Robertson, who's now back after the 1-game suspension. Quansah played last night. Gomez did a bit last night as well, actually, but you know, there's question marks over Quansah at the minute. Can he? I mean, if Ibu Konate plays in every game, Liverpool win the league by a canter. Genuinely. But he isn't. So we have to deal with it. And people say, oh, you know, Joe Gomez. Listen, in 1920, 18, 19 seasons, Joe Gomez and Van Dijk was the partnership. Yeah. I don't think you can turn your nose up at Joe Gomez at all.
No, I think it's just when you look at your depth.
Well, that, like you said earlier, you know, we could do with getting another centre-back, another left-back, and probably a CDM at some point. But in the midfield on Sunday, Ryan Gravenberch has pretty much played every minute for Liverpool this season. It was good to see him get a break the other day. Endo at centre-back, right? I tweeted before the game even happened, I already love his performance at centre-back. And I did, I was proven correct. But he won't start. It will be Gravenberch, McAllister, and then it's a real toss-up between Szoboszlai and Jones. If you start Jones, you can bring on Szoboszlai 60, 65 minutes to just energy, run, press, harry, force them into mistakes. That's what he's the best at in our team. He's almost like the Wijnaldum. He goes under the radar, doesn't score every week, but without his legs. And I'm sure the stats prove it. You know, the players these days wear the little tracker in their little top thing. He's probably got the highest number. So there's a reason why he starts most games. And actually for this, I would start him over Curtis Jones. But Harvey Elliott's back in form, scored last night. You can bring on Curtis, you can bring on Harvey. And then up front, it will be Mo Salah. Now, the key question is for Liverpool fans right now, and I'll ask you who you prefer to see start that game as a rival fan. But Núñez did score last night. Jota obviously scored against Fulham last week. You could also play Diaz through the middle as well. And then you've got Gakpo on the left. So it's a difficult one. It's a good headache to have. But I'm going to nail down Diaz, Jota, Salah. Yeah. And then off the bench, we're talking Tsimikas, Harvey, Curtis, Gakpo, Nunes, Chiesa off the bench. How do you feel about that?
Well, that front three would be, if I was a Liverpool fan, that would be my front three.
This is what I've just said, yeah.
I would obviously rather you play Nunes or Gakpo, but both brilliant. But I think that's your best front three.
Yeah.
Look, obviously, I'm not using it as an excuse, but Spurs have got 7-8 first team players out, so we don't have the luxury of a nice cushy bench.
Let's go through your lineup prediction then.
Well, he'll be Forster in goal. Assuming he's fine after tonight. He came off against Southampton, but he is fit for tonight. Udogie
at
left back, so it'll be him again because we don't actually have a left back.
He is a left back though. Isn't he?
Sorry, a left back. I said I meant we don't actually have cover for him because Ben Davies would be the covering left back, but we don't have him available. In the middle, I assume will still be Dragusin and probably Archie Gray again. Who's actually, I have to say, Archie Gray, 18 years old.
Yeah,
brilliant, tidy little player. Has not even played once in his actual position this season,
which is
centre mid.
Yeah,
he has played as a right back, a left back.
Well, yeah.
He's played as a centre half. 18 years old. He's really good. He's a really, really good player.
He's a good player.
And I like him a lot.
Sports Leeds was always going on about him when he was up there.
Yeah, they absolutely loved him.
Yeah, great player.
He's a really good, tidy player. And then right back. Now it's interesting because obviously Pedro Porro would be the one that is always spoken about. He's not been having a good season at all, and
why is that though?
Oh, I don't know. To be honest, there's a lot of players that haven't been having good seasons. Even I would say Destiny Udogie hasn't had a brilliant season either. Obviously, he was out with a long-term injury last season, so I don't know if that's also playing a part in it. I don't really know. But Porro again has been poor. Jed Spence played against Southampton. I'm assuming Jed Spence will play tonight against Manchester United as well. And I'd like to see Jed Spence get a run in the team because with Spurs, we can't have passengers and we really can't afford to have any more shitty performances. So Jed Spence has been waiting for his opportunities on various reasons.
Gone out on loan, done no.
Yeah, it's not always worked out. And there's obviously reasons as to why he's not been available or selected by Conte or Ange. But Porro's not holding down the position. So go and give yourself reason to keep her out of the team. So I would go Spence. Also gives you a lot going forward as well.
Yeah,
in the middle,
he's got the assist, didn't he, in the first minute?
He did. And what's interesting about, obviously, him and Brennan Johnson were at Forest together, and they had a really good connection. So I'm interested to see if they can get that connection back at Spurs while they play with each other. So in the middle, I'm not sure if Basuma is in or out, so I can't really make the judgment call. I think if he's fit, I think it's Basuma, Sarr,
surely
Maddison.
Start Maddison in this game.
Basuma, Sarr, Maddison. And then you have
Son, Solanke and Johnson.
Well, I don't want to not start Kulusevski. You can't.
Yeah, you've got
So
to start
the option could be you don't start Brennan and you start Kulu, which we've done quite a few times. And you have effectively kind of 2 10s as well on the pitch. Yeah, I'd go with that then. I'd go Son, Solanke, Kulu, and Brennan off the bench. But the thing is,
where's Richie at these days?
He's still injured.
Pigeon.
Poor lad. He's always injured.
Good.
He's always injured. But it's a weird one because obviously Son, again, like everyone thinks of Son as old Son, and Son is not Son of old. But in terms of finishing, there's still no one probably deadlier, and you're not going to drop him for this type of game anyway. But yeah, because again, you'd say probably Brennan Johnson's fine to come off the bench. But that would be probably my team. It's quite similar to the team that we started against. I think it might be the same pretty much apart from the injury. The team that we started against City.
And it's a team that beat City 4-0 away.
Slight tweaks in it, but the midfield and up front would be the same. And this is going to be an end-to-end game.
Well, I hope it isn't. I think under Klopp, we did see a lot of those games with Spurs, end-to-end, just crazy football matches with no control for any team. And I'd like to think, even though we have conceded 2 away at home to Fulham and then conceded 3 away at Newcastle, I'd like to think, and again, you can't use excuses as an excuse, but injuries as an excuse. But I think there has to be a bit more control in this game from Liverpool. I don't think at the minute, knowing that we need a win, we can actually afford to have a bit of a crazy
you'll have all the ball. You will have all the ball.
Sure, and that's fine, but
it's Spurs when they're breaking. Spurs on the counter.
When they break, it's dangerous.
They're very dangerous on the break.
And as much as people banter Spurs and, say trophy dodgers, which, is fair game. But they can be dangerous on the break, whatever you think about them. She is right. They can literally beat Real Madrid if they actually wanted to.
If they're on their day, they could beat anyone.
They could lose to Swindon 100%. 3-1. So
that's life as Swindon. That's life as a Spurs fan. You never what's that saying? Life's like a box of chocolates.
Never know what you're going to get.
And that's exactly what Spurs are.
Yeah,
you just do not know what you're going to get.
Forrest Gump.
Big up Forrest Gump.
Tom Hanks. Right, score predictions. Do you know what I'd love?
Go on.
A nice, clean 2-0.
Of course you would.
Like the Champions League final. Goal early. In fact, I wouldn't like a goal as late as we got at the second in the Champions League final. I'd like a goal 10 minutes in.
Do you know the weirdest thing
and then
about
a goal
that?
60 minutes
I
in,
was actually
please.
quite happy you got the second goal in that Champions League final, because if we would have
killed
lost
it
that
off,
just based on that penalty that should never have been a penalty, that would have been hurt.
Do you want to replay that game more?
No, but it's a shame, because if we'd have played it on the 2nd of June, it would never have been a penalty, and God knows how that team would have been. The rule changed on the 2nd of June.
Is it?
Yeah.
Funny that.
Yeah, funny that.
Yeah.
Imagine if that was the other way around.
Yeah, well, listen.
Never hear the end of it. Still
I'm
be
sure
going
there was a
about
rule change. The rule to never employ Simon Hooper again, probably, after the last one. Good process, lads.
Anyway,
we're both over then.
We're over it.
We're both over it. Not really.
I am going to go with a 2-2.
See, that's no good for us, man.
No, it's no good for you.
It's no
and
good
to be
for
fair,
us,
it's Spurs need to win, don't they?
Mm.
But at the same time, if we can get a point against Liverpool, then I'm happy.
Who have you got after? Probably should know that.
Wolves, I think.
Wolves. All right, fair.
I think
again,
Wolves.
it would be so Spursy to beat Liverpool and then lose to Wolves. It just doesn't make sense, this football club. So I'm going 2-0 Liverpool. That's more in hope, to be honest, because we haven't kept a clean sheet now for a few weeks, which isn't great. And it's actually not very in keeping with Arne Slot's kind of game management so far. Solanke, you got to keep an eye out for him. Obviously, Kulusevski can
been
cut
one of
inside.
the players of the season.
And obviously Robertson at the minute. He's got it. It's got the light under him a little bit. So if I was Tottenham, I'd be saying, right, Kulusevski, you get at Robbo.
He'll be getting at him.
Son, I've never really thought that Son's ever. Yes, he has scored in this fixture, but I don't really ever remember him pocketing Trent. It's always been a decent battle between them two.
He won't pocket him now.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sure. So again, you can't let him get space in or around the box, because he can finish all day long. But the midfield, I think that's where Liverpool really have to assert their dominance. If it's Maddison, Sarr and Bissouma, hopefully with Szoboszlai, Gravenberch and McAllister, you've got a bit of everything there. You've got the legs.
You'll have the midfield.
You've got technique. I think that's where we win the game. And I have to say, if Liverpool do win this game, it's massive. This is our biggest game of the season.
Really?
On Sunday so far, yeah, 100%.
Because it's going into Christmas top.
Because it's going into Christmas top. It's that mental advantage you'd have over Arsenal and City. Obviously, Chelsea are there as well. And then it's Leicester at home in the next game. Then you go away to West Ham. These are all tough games.
Yeah.
But Liverpool, just win. Just win. I don't care how you do it. If you have to shithouse it, if you have to cheat, if you have to do what they did to us last year, do it.
Well, we didn't cheat.
Blame
the officials.
PGMOL cheated, right? Cheat again on Saturday, Sunday in our favour. No, it isn't. And I can't blame you for that. But at the minute, that pressure is firmly on Liverpool. I'm applying it myself.
Apply the pressure.
Because, I don't get all these people that sit on the fence. You've seen what you've seen. Go and back your team. Say yes, we're going to win the league.
Go on, lads.
Why not?
Back your team.
What I'm doing, lads.
What you doing?
You know what I mean? Giles there getting splinters, lads.
Oh, no, you don't want
Sitting
that. Get off the fence. Go on, get off. You tit. Get off.
Anyway.
Right, are we
Liverpool
done?
must win this game. Spurs must win this game.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
We'll see
You're
what
going
happens.
2-2. I'm going 2-0. That's not what you're going for. Line-up predictions. I think I've pretty much got it right.
I couldn't tell you about the bench.
Score predictions. Yeah, I mean, our bench, definitely that's where you could also win the game as well. You bring on 5 subs and it changes it.
It won't be ours. Ours will be Timo Werner.
Yeah. Start him, in fact. Start Timo. Turbo Timo. Anyway, thanks for coming on once again, Abbi.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me.
Smash that like button. Get your comments in. Score predictions, line-up predictions. And guess what? I'm going to see her on Monday, whatever happens.
Whatever happens.
Yeah?
May the best team win or draw.
May the best team win. And hopefully that's the red team on Sunday, right? Smash that like button.
And hopefully, we knock United out of the cup. We all want to see that.
There is a small part of me that wants to embarrass them over 2 legs and get United.
Nah, come on.
Would you want us in the cup?
No,
2 legs?
But I'd rather knock United out. And surely as a Liverpool fan, you want United out?
No, I do. But yeah, we'll see what happens anyway, because by the time this goes out, that will all be known
That will all
information.
be
But either way, I'll see you on Monday.
See you Monday.
Someone's getting cooked, and hopefully
it's you.
It's not me, and it's you. Take care. See you soon.